in your name. No weapon formed against you shall prosper. Isaiah 54:17. And no delay can deny a divine appointment. This isn't just a message, this is a release. What you are hearing now is the sound of wrapping paper being torn from a gift etched with your name in gold. It fits your life like it was made for you because it was. And now the Most High commands, open it, see it, receive it, it is yours. This moment was ordained, and in just a breath you will understand why it was blocked 3 times, and why what's coming now is greater than what you first expected. So if your spirit bears witness, if you know this word is yours, declare it. Type Amen in the comments as your bold yes to heaven, as a signal to the angels that you are ready to receive what has always been yours. And stay with this message until the very end. We will close with a powerful prayer that will seal today's breakthrough in your life. And now, as the message unfolds further, the atmosphere around you begins to shift. This is not for the many. This is for you, the one heaven has circled, waited for, watched over. There's a reason you are still here, drawn in beyond explanation, not because of curiosity, but because eternity placed your name on this moment. The Most High says, you were delayed not because I forgot you, but because I was preparing something far greater than you expected. If I had given it when you first asked, it would have blessed you, but it would not have completed you. Heaven does not deal in accidents. Every silence, every not yet, was building weight behind what's now on its way. The delay was divine design, not denial, but multiplication. Just as Joseph endured betrayal and years in prison before being elevated to Pharaoh's right hand, Genesis 41:41, so too have you walked through nights of obscurity, all leading to this hour of release. There was a meeting in the unseen realm, not a metaphor, but a reality. Archangel Michael stood before the throne and declared, they have waited long enough. Their prayers have risen like incense. Their hope has not failed. Send it now. And God responded, remove every barrier, release what was sealed. That stirring in your chest, the unexplained ache, the sudden stillness, it's the signal. Your spirit senses what your eyes have yet to see. The blessing is not gentle. It comes like a tide, not asking permission, but moving in with the authority of heaven's decree. And yes, others tried to claim what was yours. They spoke your name in rooms where you were not present, but the Most High saw it and said, what I have written in their name cannot be transferred. Their portion is preserved. The waiting has not made your promise smaller, it has added interest. With every passing day, heaven attached more to what was already yours. Now, it approaches with fullness. Not just to comfort you, but to complete what was missing. It carries the answer to questions you've buried in silence. It arrives not in fragments, but in overflow. This is the hour your soul has been leaning toward without knowing why. The hour etched into your life before breath entered your lungs. For the vision is yet for an appointed time. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not delay. Habakkuk 2-3. Chosen one, the gates are open. The atmosphere is shifting. What is written in light now moves toward you. You are not late, you are right on time. And now, as the message from heaven continues to unfold, the presence of Archangel Michael grows stronger, like a shield settling over your life. His voice moves through the unseen, like a steady current of light, and he speaks with the certainty of one who stands in the courts of the Most High. Chosen one, tonight the shift will make itself known. It may not resemble the promise in its final form, but it will carry the unmistakable fragrance of what is coming. A small sign, subtle yet undeniable, will brush against your spirit. It might arrive as a conversation you never expected, a gesture from someone who rarely reaches out, or a door long jammed, finally opening with no effort at all. When it happens, something inside you will recognize it instantly. Your heart will rise not in fear, but in holy familiarity, because your spirit already knows heaven has begun to move. And nothing will halt its movement now. There will even be those who once dismissed you, who turned away in indifference or judgment, who quietly concluded your story had stalled. These same individuals will witness the unfolding blessing. They may not understand the why, and they may struggle with the timing, but they will not be able to deny what they see. Just as the radiance on Moses' face made it clear he had stood in the presence of the Almighty, Exodus 34-29, so too will the glow surrounding your life speak for you. You will not need to defend, explain, or justify what heaven is doing. The evidence will travel ahead of you. So remain here. Do not step out of this stream of grace. The flow has already been released, and the Most High is preparing to reveal why the wait was long, why the gates closed 3 separate times, and why each delay carried divine strategy rather than disappointment. God says, listen with the attention of one who knows this moment is sacred. The emotions rising and falling within you are not random. Your dreams have been louder. Your heart has been softer. Even the smallest memories have returned with unexpected weight. This is why. 3 times the blessing approached you, 3 times the answer stood at the threshold, and 3 times the gates closed, not because I denied you, but because I protected you. The first attempt was shielded because there were people too close to your inner circle who were not prepared to honor what heaven intended to place in your hands. They wore agreement on their faces, but their spirits could not rejoice in your rising. Like Joseph's jealous brothers, who smiled in his presence, but plotted behind his back, Genesis 37. These individuals would have taken your joy and reduced it before you ever had the chance to hold it. So, the angels intervened, drawing a veil over the moment until the wrong eyes turned away. The second attempt was delayed because your heart was still healing from wounds no one else recognized. You were carrying the invisible weight of disappointment, doubt, or betrayal. And had the blessing reached you then, you might have questioned its validity or believed it was meant for someone more worthy. Heaven whispered over you the way the Most High whispered over Elijah in the wilderness. Rest, eat, recover. 1 Kings 19:5-7. Your spirit needed room to breathe again, to rebuild trust, to remember who you were before life shook you. Heaven waited not because you were weak, but because you were becoming strong. The third attempt came closest of all. The promise was almost in your grasp, the spiritual package nearly unwrapped. But then a sudden storm rose. Not the kind that destroys, but the kind that distracts, the kind meant to make you look away from what was already yours. You questioned whether heaven had fallen silent, when in truth, heaven was watching intently, shielding without interference, ensuring that nothing fragile or premature reached you before it was ready to remain. It was the same protection the Most High placed around Daniel when his answer was delayed, not by indifference, but by spiritual battle. Daniel 10:12-13. The delay was never denial, it was defense. And now, everything is different. The angels are no longer guarding the blessing from afar. They are carrying it toward you with wings set wide, their pace unbroken. There is no fourth block, no reroute, no second guessing. The moment has been sealed. The hour has been stamped. To you, the one who has been overlooked, whose kindness went unseen, who became a safe place for others when no one noticed your own need, this is why heaven moves now. Archangel Michael speaks again. I will stand watch at your doorway. The shadows that once entered will not cross your threshold again. This time, the blessing will stay. Do not assume it will arrive with fanfare. Heaven often moves in ways the world overlooks. Sometimes it enters with the force of a breaking dawn, and sometimes, like the voice Samuel heard in the night, 1 Samuel 3, it comes softly, calling your name before you even understand what you are hearing. Pay close attention tonight to the small message that feels strangely timely, to the thought that drifts into your mind with warmth instead of worry, to the memory that resurfaces not to reopen a wound, but to remind you of how far you've come. These are the fingerprints of heaven on the edges of your life. This blessing is not merely a gift, it is a transition, a turning of pages, a closing of chapters that once held you, and the quiet sealing of wounds that once defined you. Those who doubted will witness what unfolds, but gratitude, not pride, will rise in your heart. Gratitude born from nights you endured, prayers you whispered, tears you carried without a witness. Gratitude that humbles, that softens, that brings your spirit into deep rest before the Most High. God says, do not rush from this moment. The fact that you remain here tells me your spirit recognizes what I am unveiling. Stay. Let this truth seep into the places that have been aching for years. For the God who kept you through the waiting is the same God who now releases the blessing, and no voice, no circumstance, no doubt, not even your own uncertainty, can stop what heaven has already set in motion. You are not here by coincidence, he says. You are here because this hour was written into your story before your first breath. And now, the alignment is complete. Your heart, your prayer, and my answer have finally arrived at the same moment. And in this sacred meeting, everything begins to shift. And now, as the veil thins even further between the visible and the divine, the reason for the delay becomes clear. What was once held back was not forgotten, and what was blocked was not denied. It was shielded fiercely, lovingly, intentionally, because of how sacred it truly is. The Most High says, you must understand this message, this promise, this gift. It was never meant to be delivered in an unripe season. The value it holds is too weighty to be dropped into a place that would not honor it. There are moments in life when we long for answers, long for resolution, and yet heaven remains still. But stillness does not mean silence, and delay does not mean denial. Have you ever planted a seed in soil that was too cold? Even the richest ground cannot protect a seed from the wrong season. If frost lingers, the seed will die before it ever has a chance to rise. That is why heaven waited, not to punish you, but to preserve what was growing under the surface and to protect you, the one chosen to carry it. This promise was never ordinary, and those who were once in your life, yes, even those you trusted, were not always meant to witness this part of your journey. Some who smiled beside you would have clenched their hearts in bitterness had they heard the sound of your breakthrough. Some would have applauded in the open, yet plotted in the quiet corners of their hearts. Like the older brother of the prodigal son, who could not celebrate the return of grace because pride had locked his spirit, Luke 15:28-30. There were those near you who were not ready to rejoice with you. So, the angels blocked the release, not out of wrath, out of mercy. Heaven wrapped the blessing in silence and shielded it with secrecy, not to keep it from you, but to protect it for you. because some promises are too holy to be exposed in unfinished chapters. But now, everything has changed. The barriers are cracking. Invisible walls that once stood high between you and your restoration are breaking apart. The resistance that once surrounded your name is dissolving. Archangel Michael, the one heaven assigns when finality is declared, has been released. And when heaven sends Michael, it is not for negotiation, it is for completion. There will be no interception, no redirection, no return to sender. The blessing is coming, and in the spirit you are seen weary, quiet, not the kind of tired that sleep can solve, but the kind that lives in the bones, the weariness that comes from standing in faith longer than anyone knew. You've whispered in the dark, "God, I'm still here, but I don't know how much longer I can hold on." And heaven responds now, "You won't have to hold on much longer. I am stepping in. This next move is mine." What's approaching is not a small shift. It will not touch just one area of your life and leave the rest unchanged. It will move through your home like oil healing, what you stopped mentioning, restoring what you thought was lost forever. It will answer the questions you've carried in silence, and it will affirm with holy clarity that every unseen tear has been accounted for. You have kept count of my tossings, put my tears in your bottle. Are they not in your book? Psalm 56-8. Nothing has gone unnoticed, nothing has been wasted. And now, not tomorrow, not someday far off, but tonight you will feel the shift begin. It may not come with lightning. It may arrive in peace so deep, so unfamiliar, that you struggle to put words to it. It may show up in the form of a door opening that you forgot you had even knocked on. It may be someone speaking words that echo prayers you thought no one heard. However it comes, you will know. Your spirit will recognize it before your mind can explain it. So do not dismiss what feels too perfect. Do not question what fits too exactly. Heaven is deliberate. What reaches you now has been shaped by divine hands and delivered with specific instructions. And though this word will touch many hearts, the Most High makes this clear. This is not a general blessing. This is not a recycled promise. This is not something borrowed. It is personal. It is precise. It carries your name. And heaven has declared, you are ready. Not perfect, not unscarred, but ready. Ready not because you never wavered, but because you never quit. Ready not because you knew the way, but because you kept walking. Ready not because the journey was flawless, but because through it all you remained. There is another truth heaven urgently desires for you to grasp in this sacred hour. Before a blessing appears in the visible world, it first takes root within. What approaches is not merely circumstantial change, it is personal transformation. What is arriving is not just meant to fill your life, but to reshape your identity. The external outpouring begins with an internal awakening. The Most High is not just changing the landscape around you, He is reshaping the way you see yourself. For too long, you have worn names that were never spoken in heaven. Labels like unworthy, too broken, too late, not enough, were never written in the language of grace. They were stitched together by pain, reinforced by rejection, and whispered by voices who never understood the magnitude of what you carried. These were not divine verdicts, they were echoes of wounds that heaven has long desired to heal. But now, as the blessing draws near, those old identities begin to break away. Heaven cannot pour the sacred into a vessel still defined by shame. And so, quietly, tenderly, the Most High begins to rewrite the names you call yourself. He is restoring the truth of who you've always been beneath the weight of everything you were told you were not. You are mine, says the Lord. I have called you by name, and you are not forsaken. Isaiah 43:1. This is why you've been sensing something within you, shifting not loudly, but undeniably. The thoughts that once spiraled into fear now end in peace. The dreams you had shelved in disappointment have begun to stir again. You've started to notice that what once discouraged you now makes you pause and whisper, maybe God is working. This is not coincidence. This is spiritual preparation. This is heaven tilling the soil of your heart so that what is coming will have roots deep enough to remain. Because blessings, real blessings, carry weight. They require strength not only to receive, but to sustain. The Most High is building in you the spiritual maturity to carry favor without forgetting humility, influence without losing identity, and joy without fearing its loss. This is why, in the quiet hours when no one else sees, you've been learning how to trust again, learning how to hope without hesitating, learning to unlearn the fears you picked up from seasons of disappointment. Like clay on the potter's wheel, Jeremiah 18:4, you are being reshaped, not discarded, but reformed into something that can hold glory. You may have noticed it already, a new clarity in places where confusion once ruled. The fog is lifting, the noise is quieting. Your discernment is becoming sharper, not because the world changed, but because you have. When heaven draws near, confusion loses authority. You start to recognize what aligns with your purpose and what quietly drains your spirit. This is why certain relationships feel more distant now, not from conflict, but from calibration. Not every bond is meant to survive your elevation. Some ties were only strong in the season of your struggle. They cannot breathe in the altitude of your breakthrough. Separation is not always rejection. Sometimes it is preservation. Just as Abraham was asked to leave behind familiar land to become the father of nations, Genesis 12:1-2, so too are you being called into an identity that requires new surroundings emotionally, spiritually, and even relationally. The loosening you feel is not failure. It is God creating space. And perhaps the most unfamiliar part of this transition is the call to receive. You have known how to endure. You have mastered sacrifice. You've been the strong one, the silent one, the one who carried others even when you were collapsing inside. But now, heaven is shifting your posture. You are being invited to open your hands, to receive not out of entitlement, but out of obedience. Because when the Most High gives, questioning your worthiness does not humble the gift, it delays its fruit. Every good and perfect gift is from above, James wrote, coming down from the Father of lights. James 1:17. Your role is not to earn it, your role is to trust it, to say yes to what has already been appointed. You are not being blessed because you performed perfectly. You are being blessed because grace chose you, because the author of your story never removed your name from the promise, even when you doubted your part in the plot. So now, your heart is being widened, your vision lifted, your identity restored, not for a fleeting moment, but for a season that will alter the rhythm of your life. The blessings that are arriving are not surface level. They are soul deep. They are not meant to impress others. They are meant to heal you, to affirm you, to remind you who you are in the eyes of heaven. Heaven is not just sending favor. Heaven is preparing you. And when that prepared blessing meets the renewed version of you, something holy will ignite, and the path forward will flow with a grace and strength you've never known before. And now, As the atmosphere around your life continues to shift, heaven leans in closer. The stillness you've been sensing is not silence, it's sacred preparation. The delay you've endured was never about punishment. It was about timing, protection, and divine orchestration. There is something the Most High needs you to understand before this next part unfolds. The release is not only near, it has already begun. The voice of the Lord echoes now, not through thunder, but through stillness. Remain close to me in these next hours. Guard your focus, keep your heart open, and let your spirit remain alert. What was withheld 3 times before is now being released without resistance. And no other soul can take it. No other name can be placed on it. It was always yours. It still is. This moment is holy. It is not to be rushed past. The fact that these words have found you now is the sign that heaven has already acted on your behalf. You are not waiting for heaven to notice you. Heaven has already moved. And what you are hearing is not simply encouragement, it is a confirmation, a divine reminder to steady your heart in these final moments before fulfillment. For years, not just days or months, something inside you has been holding on, not always visibly, not always confidently, but deeply. A hope that never fully disappeared, a longing that defied reason. And even when logic tried to talk you out of it, something sacred held your spirit in place. That wasn't stubbornness, it was spiritual memory. A divine recall of what was spoken over you in the secret places before your first breath was drawn. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you, says the Lord, Jeremiah 1-5. And what he knew, he never forgot. The reason this blessing was held back not once, but 3 separate times, has nothing to do with failure on your part. It had everything to do with what was happening around you. The timing was misaligned, and the people near you? Some of them wore the right expressions, but carried hidden intentions. They celebrated you in words, but measured their steps to stay ahead. Some wanted your light dimmed, not extinguished, just quiet enough that they would not have to confront the truth of your calling. And heaven, in mercy, saw it all. So the angels stepped in. The blessing was ready, but the circle around you was not. And just as Nehemiah guarded the rebuilding of Jerusalem's walls against those who tried to sabotage it, Nehemiah 4, Archangel Michael has been walking the edges of your life, shielding you from access points you didn't even know existed, not as a warden, but as a warrior, not to trap you, but to fortify your perimeter. Heaven quite literally fenced you in, not to hold you back, but to protect what was still forming inside you. Because what's coming is not light, it's not temporary, it's not something you can toss into casual spaces or share with hands that have not been consecrated to protect it. This blessing is weighty. It carries history, healing, and harvest all at once. And so the delay, painful as it was, became a shield. And now, that shield is being lifted. In recent days, you've sensed it. Small signs, subtle shifts. Maybe it was a lyric that came on at just the right time. A line in a stranger's conversation that pierced straight through your silence. A dream that stayed with you long after you woke, echoing something familiar but unspoken. These were not coincidences. They were breadcrumbs of heaven, gentle nudges that whispered, "Stay alert, the delivery is close." And what is coming? Not a portion, not a consolation prize. This is not heaven offering just enough to keep you moving. This is a full circle return. This is God not only restoring what was lost, but returning it with interest. Just as Job received double after all he endured, Job 42:10, so too will you see that the waiting wasn't waste, it was investment. Every day you waited, the value increased. And what was being added wasn't just in the blessing itself, it was in you. You didn't just survive this delay, you were deepened by it. The waiting widened your spirit. It carved out space in you not just to receive more, but to remain whole once the promise arrives. Now, when it comes, you won't lose yourself in it. You'll hold it with wisdom. You'll protect it with clarity. You'll carry it without the fear of dropping it. Because now you are ready. This is not the start of a moment. This is the beginning of a divine appointment that has been written in heaven long before you ever asked for it. And the hour has come. There is a whisper in the Spirit that must not go unnoticed in this hour. You've been sensing it, haven't you? That something just beyond your understanding is shifting, that a door is creaking open, not in chaos, but with precision. And as your heart leans closer to these words, the reason becomes clear. Someone has been speaking your name not in slander, not in secret schemes, but in places ordained for your elevation, rooms you've never walked into, circles you were never invited to, conversations held behind doors you didn't know existed. But this time, those voices are not seeking to withhold what belongs to you, they are clearing the way. Because God has replaced the counterfeit voices with true ones. Favor has found your name, and it is carrying it with honor, not with jealousy. Just as Mordecai's name was spoken before the king when the time for reward had finally come, Esther 6:111, so your name has been woven into atmospheres being prepared for your rising. Even now, as you sit with this word, the very air around your life is aligning. Angels are not simply watching, they are working, aligning details, shifting hearts, breaking barriers. You're not seeing the movement yet because it's happening in the deep, the kind of movement that rearranges things at the root level. Like the final piece of a long-lost puzzle, slipping perfectly into place after years of wondering if it even existed. And when it comes, hear this clearly. You will not have to perform for it. You will not need to shrink so others feel safe. You will not need to apologize for where it places you. You will not bend yourself to fit small rooms. This blessing will not arrive as a reward for perfection, but as confirmation of divine appointment. It will come without compromise, and when it arrives, it will fit your life so precisely that your spirit will recognize it like a song it has always known. You'll wonder how you ever lived without it. The Most High declares, the delivery is no longer pending, it is in motion. What was blocked 3 times has now broken through the final barrier. My angels are no longer asking permission. They move now with my full authority. And in this moment, all that is asked of you is this: stay soft, stay grateful, stay present. Heaven is not waiting on you to strive only to remain open. Because within hours, yes, even in the span of a single day, the first signs will appear. Signs that the delivery has arrived. And once it begins, it will not drip slowly. It will pour. It will not pause halfway. It will continue until the fullness is resting in your hands. Pause here, not in hesitation, but in reverence. Because what you're sensing now, that stillness pressing on your chest, that holy weight behind your eyes, is not emotion, it is heaven drawing near. The Spirit of God is speaking to you, not to the crowd, not to the masses, but to you. This word isn't wide, it's personal, it's intimate, and you've been prepared to hear it. You have walked through a season of divine quiet, not by your own choosing. It wasn't isolation born from offense, it was God's design. He needed you hidden, not abandoned, but protected. Not dismissed, but set apart. In that stillness, you learn to hear without noise. You learn to pray without applause. You learn to heal in silence. And while others rushed to be seen, you were being preserved for a moment that required your undivided heart. This is that moment. Unseen movements have been stirring for longer than you know, conversations you were never privy to, decisions that included your name before you were even aware. Hearts were softened, agreements were made, and your name, your real name, the one heaven knows, kept rising in those places. The Spirit of God placed it there, like a seed waiting for the right soil and the right season. Archangel Michael has stood guard over every inch of this process, watching, shielding, blocking every counterfeit connection, and silencing every voice that tried to twist what God was forming. Smiles hid agendas. Sweet words cloaked envy. But heaven saw every shadow, every strategy masked as support. And God said, "Not yet. My promise will not land in compromised soil." So the release was held back, not because you weren't ready, but because your surroundings weren't. He waited until your circle could be pruned, until the table could be set without spectators who came to observe your joy without the capacity to honor it. You have not been tested to expose your weakness. You have been tested to reveal your strength. Years ago, you prayed for what's coming now. But back then, your heart might have shared it too soon, might have handed it to the wrong hands. But now, you've been refined. You've learned the power of quiet obedience. You've learned to protect what's sacred. You don't need applause anymore to know you're walking in purpose. And so, this is what heaven declares now. The blessing is not on its way. It has arrived. You are no longer waiting for the promise. You are standing at its threshold. All that's left is one step, one breath, and you will cross into what you've only dared to dream. You'll look back and understand the delay wasn't cruelty, it was mercy. God wasn't just preparing the blessing, He was preparing you. Even now, Michael bows near, speaking words your soul was made to receive. No force can close the door that God has opened. No betrayal, no resistance, no delay has the authority to undo what has already been sealed by the decree of heaven. That tightness in your chest, the signs you couldn't explain, the thoughts of hope that surprised you this week, all of it has been heaven's gentle announcement. It's time. And when it happens, it won't creep in quietly. It will rush like rain onto dry ground. One moment you'll be remembering old prayers, the next you'll be standing in their fulfillment. People may ask how it happened so fast, but you'll know it wasn't fast, it was faithful. So now remain still, not passive, but steady. Let heaven finish what it started. The same God who guarded this promise through every delay will ensure you receive it without striving. This is not the beginning of the blessing. This is the beginning of the manifestation. And nothing can stop what has already been set in motion. When heaven releases something of great significance, it is never random. The release may be supernatural, but your posture in response must be intentional. The blessing does not arrive in a void. It looks for agreement, for a heart that is ready, for ground that has been made soft. It looks for alignment, not perfection, but preparation. The Most High does not hand over sacred gifts into hands that are clenched by bitterness or closed by fear. Instead, He draws near to those whose daily lives whisper, "I'm ready." Just as Noah was asked to build the ark long before a drop of rain ever fell, your preparation is an act of faith, a signal to heaven that you believe the downpour is coming. So, in this sacred window of time, as the promise nears the threshold of your life, there are daily choices, simple, quiet yet spiritually powerful, that help open the gates even wider. Begin each morning not with dread, but with declaration. Before the noise of the day reaches you, before the world touches your mind, lift a whispered prayer. Lord, prepare me for what you are sending. That single breath of expectation shifts the atmosphere. It signals heaven that your heart is not just wishing, it is readying. Remember, even David, anointed in private, long before he ever sat on the throne, trained in fields with sheep before he ruled a nation. Preparation is not performance, it is posture. As you move through your day, practice spiritual awareness. Not every movement of heaven arrives with trumpets. Sometimes it looks like a conversation that lights up your mind, an unexpected opportunity that settles into your spirit with perfect fit, or a sudden calm in the middle of what should have broken you. Don't overlook these moments. They are not accidents, they are footsteps of the promise approaching. When your spirit is tuned in, you begin to see what others miss. And when fear rises because it will meet it with remembrance, breathe deeply and speak truth over yourself. This delay was never punishment, it was protection. This arrival is not random, it is divine timing. Fear loses its grip when your soul remembers the nature of the one who writes your story. Take time to release what no longer serves the next season. Unforgiveness is not always loud. Sometimes it's the quiet weight you didn't know you were still carrying. If someone wounded you, offer their name in prayer, not to reopen the connection, but to release the burden. Forgiveness is not about reconciliation, it's about freedom. And what is coming is too pure to share space with stale grief. Create in me a clean heart, O God, cried the psalmist, Psalm 51:10, and renew a right spirit within me. This cleansing is not punishment, it is invitation. And as a physical act of agreement, make room, order your space, clean your room, organize your environment. Heaven often responds to those who prepare tangibly, not just mentally. When you clear your physical space, you are making a prophetic statement. I believe something new is arriving. The act may seem small, but in the spiritual realm, it speaks volumes. Even Elisha, when the Shunammite woman prepared a room for the prophet, 2 Kings 4-10, unknowingly made space for a miracle she didn't yet know she needed. Speak gratitude daily and out loud, not just for what you've seen, but for what is still coming. Gratitude is not just politeness in the spirit, it is power. Heaven moves swiftly toward thankful hearts because gratitude proves trust. It is your soul's way of saying, I believe, even before I see. Close each day with reflection. Ask, where did I feel God today? The answer might surprise you. Perhaps it was in a moment of unexpected peace, a gentle smile from someone you didn't know, or strength that rose in you when you thought you had none left. God is often not in the earthquake, the fire, or the wind, but in the whisper, 1 Kings 19:12. And when you reflect, you begin to see how often He speaks. Carry yourself this week with holy confidence, not pride, but assurance. Confidence says, I know who walks with me. The spiritual realm responds to posture. When you walk as though you expect goodness, the atmosphere aligns to meet that faith. It's not arrogance, it's agreement with heaven's word over your life. Above all, remain open. The blessing may arrive through unexpected means, a stranger, a sentence, a shift inside your own soul. Don't limit how God can move. He parted the sea with wind, fed His people with bread from the sky, and healed with mud. He is not bound by method. only by timing, and that timing has now come. What was delayed, what was blocked, what was rerouted, is now being released. And these small daily alignments, your prayers, your order, your awareness, your forgiveness, your gratitude, they are not wasted. They are how you steward the sacred. They are how you prepare to carry something heaven never intended for you to drop. This is no longer the waiting season. This is the walking season. And every step you take now is upon ground that has already been cleared for your arrival. And now, as this message draws to a close, understand that you are not standing at the edge of possibility. You are standing inside fulfillment. The doors have not just opened, they were prepared long ago to swing wide at the sound of your steps. What has been spoken over your life is not wishful thinking. It is the echo of heaven's design finally catching up to time. The delays, the silence, the stripping away, none of it was wasted. Every tear, every quiet prayer, every decision to keep believing when you had every reason to let go has now become the foundation beneath your feet. You have been walking through a divine blueprint, one laid out long before you could recognize its lines. This is not about receiving one breakthrough or a single moment of favor. This is about stepping into a new rhythm of living where divine timing meets divine identity and walks with you daily. The same God who concealed you is now revealing you. The same God who withheld is now pouring out.